During a purge, rooftops tend to look hotter than a hot babe with a fever, but are they worth it? Should you even be messing around with them, or you catch something untreatable? Answering that is the purpose of today's video. We're going to review the pros and cons of rooftops and see what is what, because rooftops can be insanely overpowered in certain purge situations, and then turn into total trash in others. For this analysis, we're only going to focus on flat roofs, because sloped ones are pointless, dude. One wrong step and you're falling off and breaking your legs. They're not worth it at all. The flat ones, however, do have a lot of advantages. First up with rooftops is that they give you a massive field of vision because of the elevation. You can see enemies coming from half a mile away and plan a nice welcome party for them. Or you can decide to be a bad host and run away before they arrive. It all depends on how you were raised. The second advantage of rooftops is the built-in stealth. When you're on a rooftop, you can see people on the ground, but they can't see you unless they're really close. But by that time, it's usually too late for them. The only scenario in which people can see you on a rooftop is if they are specifically looking for you with binoculars and stuff like that. And you usually have to be standing close to the ledge for that to happen. If you just step back from the ledge or lie flat on the roof, usually you're completely invisible to anybody on the ground, unless you're fat. Even if you're standing close to the ledge, you're still invisible 90% of the time because people simply don't look up that much when they're walking around. They look at the ground, and at things that are, at eye level, everything above their heads are functionally invisible because they're not looking at it. And even if they see you, you're always going to see them first. It's an enormous advantage, and it feeds directly to the next advantage of roofs. If you get into a shootout for whatever reason, a rooftop gives you tremendous advantages over enemies on the ground. First, your enemies can't see you as easily as you can see them. You can pick off a couple of them before they have time to react. In fact, if you're only dealing with a small group, you can end the fight before they realize there was a fight to be had. Even with bigger groups, you still have the advantage because the rooftop provides natural cover. You can make yourself invisible by either hiding behind a ledge or just lying flat, again, unless you're fat. But your enemies can't do that. Even if they hide behind something like a car or a trash can, you can still see them from above. So you always know where they are, and they have to expose themselves every time they shoot at you. This makes them super vulnerable. You also have a targeting advantage during a gunfight. When your enemies are shooting at you from the ground, their bullets have to fight gravity to get to you, so their aim is always just going to be a little bit off, but because you're shooting downward, you don't have to worry about that. Your aim is always going to be slightly better. A guy on the ground has to be an expert marksman to take out somebody on a roof, but a guy on a roof can take out multiple targets on the ground with a much lower level of skill. It's also a lot easier to use explosives, but for that you'd have to break the rules of the Purge, something you would definitely not do because, you're not some criminal. The last advantage of a roof is that the limited access makes it easier to defend. Somebody on the ground can be attacked from any direction, but if you're on a rooftop, that's a lot more limited. You can only be attacked from above, so as long as you don't make enemies with people who own helicopters, you should be fine. Some stupid people might still try attacking you from below, but they're easy to fight off. Take them out if they try to climb the wall, barricade the roof access door, and if you can, demolish the last flight of stairs leading up to the roof. Let your enemies jump if they can. Now, all these advantages make rooftops sound so awesome, but there are still some serious downsides. The first disadvantage of a rooftop is other rooftops. In the countryside, a rooftop is a wonderful thing in a purge, but in a city where there's lots of tall buildings, rooftops are about as safe as your butt in Diddy Cell. You're not in danger right away, but the longer you stay, the more likely it is that something will go horribly wrong. The only rooftop that is worth camping on in the city is the rooftop of a skyscraper. If your rooftop is not sitting on top of the tallest structure in the area, you're just target practice for anybody who happens to be camping out on a nearby rooftop that is slightly higher. So, while being on a rooftop may be better than being on the ground, you're still very vulnerable, especially if you spend too much time on a roof surrounded by buildings of a similar height. Just make sure you get to know your neighbors. Offer them some pizza. The second weakness of a roof is that your enemies don't always have to climb up to get to you. They can just compromise the building by either demolishing it or setting it on fire. What are you gonna do then? The same factors that make rooftops hard to attack also make them hard to escape in the case of a fire. Now, you can always reduce the risk of this by camping on a building made of something that's harder to burn like concrete, but they could always stack up mattresses or stuff like that and blind you with the smoke while they sneak up on you. Then there's the blatant disregard of the rules. Purge rules say you can't use bombs, but if your enemies decide to just ignore that, you're cooked. They can just blow up the building if they can't burn it. We saw people using bombs in Purge 2, so it's not entirely out of the question. In Purge 5, people straight up disregarded the 12-hour time limit and kept purging for weeks on end after the purge was supposed to be officially over. If you're on a rooftop in a situation like that, you're done, dude. Your enemies can just camp out in the building beneath you and wait until you run out of food, water, and ammo. You're also exposed to the elements on a rooftop. If there's rain, you're getting soaked. If there's hailstones, you're getting pounded. If it's a chilly winter night, you're gonna be shivering so hard. You'd be better off staying in the house. You're gonna at least die in air conditioning or warm climate. I mean, that's exactly why we build houses, so we can stay inside. The final downside of a rooftop is that it puts you at risk of participating in the Purge. We have seen this exact thing play out in every single Purge movie. The most dangerous thing you can do on Purge night is to actually go out and participate in the Purge. If you try and purge people, they're gonna try to purge you back. That's how you die. You're just so much safer when you stay home and leave everybody else alone. Apart from Joe in Purge 3, who stays on his rooftop to defend his store from looters because he just lost his Purge insurance, the only other people we see on rooftops are Purgers who hide there so they can shoot at people on the ground. By the way, Joe is the best character in this entire franchise. But the minute you start letting off your shots from a roof, you draw attention to yourself, and any Purger on a neighboring roof starts viewing you as a very attractive target. Also, if you shoot at people on the ground, you're giving them a very strong incentive to come after you in any way they can. If you just stay in your house and leave passersby alone, most of the time I'd say they're probably gonna leave you alone too. So this is why I'm giving rooftops a 2 out of 10. They are total trash, dude. They do give you an advantage in seeing people approaching from a distance, but that's about all they're doing, really. Like, there is something else that can do that for you also without turning you into sniper bait, and it's called a camera. A well-fortified house with external cameras, or drones even, has every advantage that a rooftop has, minus all the downsides. If you have a rooftop, it's already on the top of a building. Just stay inside the fracking building. Don't climb out of the roof looking for trouble because you might find it. But I did say rooftops can also be overpowered in one situation. If you actually want to purge people. Most purgers get taken out by either their victims or their fellow purgers. There's no honor among murderers. You purge a guy, then another guy, or even your purge partner purges you. So if you really want to purge without being purged, but you can't afford an armored truck, rooftops are a wonderful alternative. You can shoot unsuspecting people on the ground without worrying about your victims fighting back. If you try to stab a homeless guy on the ground, he might stab you back, but if you shoot at him from a rooftop, he just dies. Other purgers on surrounding rooftops can still take you out, but you can avoid that by just camping out on the tallest building around. If someone else has the same idea because they're just as smart as you, get smarter and kill them first. I don't know. I didn't think that hard. Moral of the story, guys, purging from a rooftop is significantly safer than other forms of purging because your targets cannot fight back. But that is only for the psychopaths who enjoy spilling blood in the first place. For the rest of us lamos who just want to live and survive Purge night, rooftops are not worth it. Stay home. 4 walls, a roof to keep out the elements, and cameras monitoring the outside are 8,000 times better than any rooftop. If you can get out of your house and hide somewhere where there are no people, an utterly lonely place like our comment section, that's even better.